Have you ever felt like one mistake could ruin everything you've worked for? Like one wrong move might define your whole future? What if I told you that the greatest mind of all time made a mistake so big? He called it the greatest mistake of my life. And yet, that very mistake is what made him a genius. Today, you're going to discover the hidden truth behind Einstein's greatest error. Why it didn't destroy him, why it made him legendary, and most importantly, how your own mistakes can become the beginning of your greatest transformation. If you've ever doubted yourself, if you've ever felt trapped by a wrong decision, then this might be the moment that changes everything. Let's begin. Have you noticed how hurry has taken over everything? The streets, the clocks, even our breathing. We are always rushing to work, rushing to answer messages, rushing to solve problems, rushing to catch a feeling of peace that seems to slip further away the faster we run. But deep down, where exactly are we rushing to? Albert Einstein once said, "Time is an illusion. Hurry is a prison." Those words sound almost strange today. In a world where being fast is praised and being productive is mistaken for being valuable. But what if our obsession with urgency is not pushing us forward, but pulling us away from what truly matters? How many decisions have you made simply because you felt you couldn't wait? How many opportunities have you missed because you didn't allow yourself to stop and think? The rush that lives inside us isn't natural. It is taught, trained into us from the moment we are born. And the more we obey it, the further we drift from our true greatness. Einstein showed us that the greatest discoveries don't come from speed. They come from stillness. They aren't born from anxiety. They are born from the courage to slow down, to make mistakes, to pause, to reflect. That is where all creation begins. While the world around him spun faster and faster, Albert Einstein did something almost no one dared to do. He stopped. He would sit alone, stare into nothingness, and let silence speak louder than the noise of urgency. Contrary to popular belief, Einstein didn't craft his theories in bright labs filled with machines. He uncovered the secrets of the universe while walking quiet streets, while listening to the sound of his own breath, while allowing his mind to drift into impossible possibilities. He called these his thought experiments. Experiments that took place entirely within the infinite space of his imagination. He would ask himself, what would it be like to ride a beam of light? What would happen to time if I could move at the speed of light? These questions did not arise amidst chaos. They were born in the sacred gaps between thoughts, in the rare moments where hurry loses its power. Today we are taught to do the opposite, to move faster, to fill every silence with notifications, appointments, and noise. But the truth is, the greatest ideas in human history were not born out of hustle. They were born out of stillness, out of emptiness, out of the free space where creativity is allowed to breathe. Einstein wasn't afraid of boredom. He didn't scramble to fill every second with distraction. He knew that boredom is fertile ground, that in the discomfort of silence the mind finds its deepest expansions. Imagine this. While the world believed the universe was fixed, static, unchanging, Einstein dared to imagine that it might be moving, expanding, alive. And that single idea would change the entire course of modern physics. But it could only emerge because he allowed his mind to wander, because he trusted the power of doubt, and above all, because he respected the sacred timing of thought. Today, we are so busy trying to keep up with time that we forget to keep up with ourselves. Have you ever considered that maybe it's in the very moment you stop rushing that life finally begins to catch up with you? Einstein made it a habit to stop and think because he understood something most of us have forgotten. The mind needs space in order to reinvent itself. He deliberately distanced himself from the chaos, venturing into a territory few dare to enter, the sacred territory of true creation, to make mistakes, to reflect, to change direction. All of it demands silence. All of it demands the courage to be uncomfortable, the courage to get lost, in order to find something greater. Einstein was never afraid of being wrong. He wasn't afraid to question everything. He wasn't afraid to ask the kinds of questions that seemed absurd to others, and it's precisely because of that fearless spirit that he didn't just think differently. He changed forever the way we think about the universe itself. If we truly want to discover new possibilities for our own lives, we must also learn to stop, to trust the emptiness, to slow down, until we can finally hear what hurry tries to silence. Stopping isn't wasting time. Stopping is creating time. Time to see, time to feel, time to imagine what still seems impossible. Maybe your greatest discovery is not ahead of you, but waiting, quietly, in the empty space between two thoughts. All you need is the courage to stop. The first lesson we can learn from Einstein is simple, but perhaps the hardest to practice. Pause to think, even when everything around you is screaming for you to keep moving. Einstein had a profound respect for slow thinking. While the world demanded quick answers, he granted himself the rare luxury of patient reflection. Instead of drowning in the demands of the moment, he would take a step back, observe, quiet the noise. Listen for what had no shape yet. This was not an accident. It was a choice. And it was that choice that allowed him to see what no one else could see. When we look at our lives today, how often do we make decisions in a rush? How often do we speak without thinking, react without understanding, choose without feeling? We live under a relentless flood of stimuli, messages, deadlines, demands. Everything feels urgent, but almost nothing is truly essential. Einstein understood that the mind needs space to connect invisible ideas, that true insights don't arise under pressure. They are born in the quiet gaps between breaths, between what we know and what we dare to imagine. Today you might be trying to solve something important, a problem, a decision, a fear, and maybe you're trying to solve it with the same logic that created it. Hurry, anxiety, immediacy. But what if the answer you're seeking can't be found by rushing? What if it's waiting in the very moment you stop? Einstein didn't race toward solutions. He slowed down. He trusted that the universe, with its quiet laws, would reveal what needed to be seen, as long as he had the patience to observe. Today, the invitation is simple. At least once a day, turn everything off. Sit quietly. No questions to answer, no problems to solve, no expectations to meet. Just listen. Sit in silence. No questions to answer, no expectations to meet. Just observe what rises from within. Never underestimate the power of 5 conscious minutes. 5 minutes where you stop being dragged by life. And finally begin to inhabit it. Einstein's genius was born in that sacred space, and yours can be too. The second lesson we learn from Einstein is a powerful antidote to modern anxiety. Accept the imperfection of your path. Einstein was never afraid to admit that his ideas were incomplete. He understood that knowledge is a living construction, that today's truth might be tomorrow's question, and that mistakes are part of the process. When he published his theory of general relativity, it was still full of gaps. Problems he couldn't yet solve. Contradictions he couldn't yet explain. But he didn't wait to be 100% certain. He didn't wait for perfection. He released his ideas into the world, even knowing they would be challenged, questioned, doubted. And it was exactly that courage that made true progress possible. Today, we are taught to act only when we are fully ready, when we have all the answers, when there's no longer any risk of failure. But that expectation is a trap. The pursuit of perfection paralyzes us. It stops us from starting. It stops us from growing. Einstein teaches us that the real path is made of imperfect steps, of uncertain beginnings, of ideas that start unfinished and evolve over time. If you are waiting for the perfect moment to begin, you might end up waiting your entire life. Real progress happens when we accept that the first step will be imperfect. When we understand that failing isn't the opposite of succeeding. Failing is part of succeeding. Today, the invitation is simple. Take action even without guarantees. Share your ideas, even knowing they can and will improve. Take the first step, even if you're afraid. Accepting imperfection is accepting your humanity. It's freeing yourself from the prison of comparison. It's realizing that being real is infinitely more powerful than appearing perfect. Einstein didn't change the world because he was flawless. He changed the world because he had the courage to be imperfect and to keep going anyway. You can, too. The third lesson Einstein left us is just as powerful as it is rare. Don't hide your mistakes. Learn from them. In today's world, we are trained to hide everything that isn't perfect. We hide our failures, we hide our doubts, we even hide our vulnerability. But Einstein took a different path. When he realized that his cosmological constant was a mistake, he didn't erase it from his story. He didn't try to rewrite his past to look infallible. Instead, he called it publicly, the greatest mistake of my life. And he said it simply, without shame, without guilt. This attitude reveals something most of us have forgotten. A mistake isn't a stain, it's a bridge. When we openly embrace our mistakes, we free ourselves from the exhausting need to appear perfect. And we finally open space to learn, to grow, to evolve. When we hide our mistakes, we are actually hiding our greatest opportunities for growth. Because it's in the soil of mistakes that true wisdom takes root. Think about something you've tried to hide. A failure, a wrong decision. A moment when you fell short of expectations, yours or someone else's. Maybe the real burden you carry isn't the mistake itself, but the exhausting effort to bury it. Einstein shows us a better way. Own your mistakes with dignity. Look at them as hidden teachers. As essential milestones in your journey. If you want to step closer to true greatness today, you won't get there by pretending to be perfect. You'll get there by embracing your imperfection with courage, by recognizing your mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward stronger. Mistakes didn't diminish Einstein. They made him more human. And paradoxically, they made him even greater. You don't have to be perfect to be extraordinary. You just have to be real. The fourth lesson Einstein teaches us is revolutionary. Mistakes are not the end. They are the beginning. For centuries, the world believed the universe was static, still, perfect, unchanging. Einstein, trying to fit into that belief, made a mistake. He introduced the cosmological constant to force his equations into a static universe. Years later, with new discoveries, he realized he had been wrong. The universe was not static. It was expanding, moving, growing without end. The mistake he once lamented became the key that unlocked a whole new understanding of reality. What seemed like failure was actually a seed planted in the soil of uncertainty. A seed that would blossom into a new vision of the cosmos. And life works in the same mysterious way for all of us. Sometimes, what feels like a painful failure today is just the first step of a transformation we cannot yet see. We make mistakes. We blame ourselves. We give up. But what we fail to see is that our mistakes often push us to places that perfection never could. If Einstein had clung to his mistake in shame, he might never have expanded the boundaries of human thought. But he chose differently. He chose to revise his vision, to accept the movement of reality, to grow alongside it. Today, maybe you are carrying a mistake that still hurts. Maybe you feel like you lost precious time, lost opportunities, lost chances. But what if you are not at the end? What if your mistake is simply the crack through which something new is trying to be born? A mistake is not a wall, it is a bridge connecting who you were to who you are meant to become. Just like the universe Einstein uncovered, you too are expanding, moving, growing. What looks like an ending today might actually be the beginning of something wonderful. The fifth lesson Einstein offers is one of the most forgotten, but perhaps the most vital today. Cultivate patience over anxiety. Einstein knew that some discoveries simply could not be rushed. He knew that some answers only emerge after long seasons of uncertainty, and most importantly, he knew how to wait. While the world demanded instant results, Einstein chose patience. While others raced for immediate rewards, he surrendered to years of quiet reflection. His theory of relativity, which forever changed our understanding of time and space, took nearly a decade to be accepted. For almost 10 years, he faced criticism, skepticism, and resistance. But he stayed. He trusted. He kept tending to the invisible garden of his work. Today, we live under the heavy weight of constant anxiety. We want quick answers, immediate results, instant validation, but real life doesn't honor that rush. Growth takes time. Healing takes time. Creating something meaningful takes time. Look at nature. Everything grand and lasting grows slowly. A tree spends years sinking its roots before it touches the sky. A river carves its own path, drop by drop, before becoming strong enough to move mountains. Why do we believe our journey should be any different? Einstein reminds us that the rush to succeed often causes us to abandon the very path that would lead us there. The secret is not to move faster. The secret is to trust deeper. Trust that even when you can't yet see the results, something is forming inside you. Trust that each small, invisible effort is planting seeds that will blossom in their own sacred time. Einstein's genius was not a lightning strike. It was the slow, invisible harvest of years of patient faith. Today, choose to replace your anxiety with the quiet art of patience. Replace your urgency with the sacred confidence in your own unfolding process. You may not see the harvest yet, but it is growing inside you, day by day, step by step. You are expanding. Just like the universe, the theory of relativity, the one that forever changed how we understand time and space, took almost a decade to be accepted. Throughout all that time, Einstein faced criticism, doubt, dismissal, but he remained. He waited. He trusted. He cultivated a quiet faith in the value of his work. Today, we live under the constant weight of anxiety. We crave quick answers, instant results, immediate recognition. But real life does not respect our rush. Growth takes time. Healing takes time. Building something truly meaningful takes time. If we look at nature, we see that everything grand grows slowly. A tree spends years deepening its roots before it ever touches the sky. A river carves its path drop by drop before it becomes strong enough to move mountains. Why do we believe our journey should be any different? Einstein reminds us, it's the anxiety to get there faster that often makes us give up before we arrive. The secret isn't to run harder. The secret is to trust deeper. Trust that even when you see no immediate results, something sacred is taking shape within you. Trust that each quiet, unseen effort is a seed being planted, and in its own perfect time, the harvest will come. Einstein's genius wasn't a lightning strike. It was the mature fruit of years of invisible patience. Today, the invitation is simple. Trade your anxiety for patience. Trade your rushing for a quiet trust in your own unfolding process. What you are building might not be visible yet, but it is growing inside you, day by day, step by step. Just like the universe Einstein revealed, you too are expanding. In your own sacred time, knowing is not enough. It must be lived. Einstein didn't just think differently, he lived differently. He respected the timing of thought. He embraced error as part of the process. He trusted in the silence that comes before creation. Today, you too can bring these principles into your life. And you don't have to be a genius to do it. You just have to choose to live more consciously. The first step is to create space for silence. Every day, set aside at least 10 minutes. No phones, no distractions, no chasing answers. Just sit, breathe, observe. At first, silence may feel uncomfortable. Your mind may scramble to fill the void with worries. That's okay. Stay. Over time, you will notice something different. New ideas emerging, forgotten sensations returning, intuitions forming. The second step is to change how you see mistakes. When you make a mistake, don't treat it as a sentence. Treat it as a message. Ask yourself, what is this mistake trying to teach me? What new path is it trying to reveal? Write down what you learn. Turn every failure into fertile ground for your evolution. The third step is to slow down your decisions. Don't rush to respond. Don't rush to act. Don't rush to solve. Give yourself the time to reflect. Ask yourself, am I acting out of anxiety or out of wisdom? Life is not a race. It is an invisible process of maturation. What feels slow today might be exactly what's building the deep roots you'll need tomorrow. Einstein didn't chase immediate success. He pursued the truth. And the truth, like everything eternal, blooms slowly. Today, you have the chance to choose this path too, to step away from the race, to embrace your imperfections, to trust your own timing, be patient, be curious, be real. This is how you live an extraordinary life. Einstein didn't become great despite his mistakes. He became great because of them. He didn't become a genius by running faster than everyone else. He became a genius because he knew how to stop, to look, to question, to accept that doubt is the true seed of wisdom. If we want to truly grow, we must abandon the rush that blinds us. We must release the illusion of perfection that paralyzes us. We must understand that making mistakes isn't falling. It's learning to walk a different path. Life doesn't ask us for speed. It asks for presence. It doesn't demand perfection. It asks for authenticity. Maybe today you are in a moment of doubt. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you have begun to doubt your own path. But remember this, the mistakes that today feel like defeats might actually be the very starting points of your greatest victories. Just like the universe Einstein helped reveal, you too are expanding. Even if today it feels small, even if today it feels uncertain, the movement is happening inside you, in silence. At your own sacred pace, allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to begin again. Allow yourself to grow the way life itself grows, imperfect, silent, patient. Now, I want to hear from you. What mistake are you choosing to transform into wisdom starting today? Share your story in the comments below. Write from the heart. We'll read every single one. And together, we will build a space where mistakes are not a weakness, but a strength. Because in the end, we are all unfinished works of art. We are all universes, still expanding. So, before you go, there's one thing you need to remember. Life isn't about getting everything right the first time. It's about giving yourself the space to learn, to fall, and to rise again. You are already growing. Even if you can't feel it yet, even if it still feels messy and slow, the important thing is, don't rush it. Don't give up just because it's not perfect. Growth takes time, and honestly, that's what makes it beautiful. Now listen carefully, because there's something else you need to know. Even if you slow down, there's still a hidden mistake most people are making in their minds every single day, without even realizing it. And this mistake could be the very thing that's secretly holding you back. If you want to find out what it is, and more importantly, how to fix it starting today, make sure you watch the next video right now. Einstein reveals the mental error that's destroying your life and how to fix it today. Trust me, it's going to open your eyes. I'll see you there. Let's keep expanding together.